Hey everybody, it's Christine up today for Bella Boulevard with a love-themed layout, which of course is perfect since it's Valentine's Day. And I'm going to just do one of a picture that I have of my husband and I that I love. So I am going to actually not go with traditional Valentine's colors. I've done a few layouts with Valentine color schemes lately, and I just wasn't really feeling it to do another one. So I am going to use some more traditional Bella Boulevard colors, and you can see the bright colors that I am cutting out right now. What I am doing is cutting up paper strips to use to create my background. I am also continuing my series with titles, and today's title is going to focus on using your title within your cluster work. So that will leave you hanging on for a little bit to see what I mean by that. But let's get into the layout. I am using this guacamole green paper that is from the Squeeze the Day collection. And I'm going to actually use that for my base. If you've picked up on it, I am just not a big white base person. So if I can avoid it, if I've got a patterned paper within the set of stuff that I'm working with that will work for my background, I very much so would prefer to go that direction. There's a couple reasons for that. Number one, I just feel like white is not the easiest to photograph. Sometimes I can photograph white and edit it really well, but when I'm editing things for a company, I'm trying to match the color of the product as closely as I can. So there's only so many changes you can make in your editing before you lose the actual look of the product. And so white backgrounds are problematic for me in that. I also just don't love white. I love color. And so I wouldn't tend towards white. Even though a lot of the industry does tend towards white, that is not going to be my first choice. I would probably pick just about anything before I'd pick white. So if you've ever wondered why I do so many backgrounds that are different colors, that is why. And so I particularly like to look for a patterned paper background, specifically one that's got either very subtle design to it or has a monochromatic design. So that is the case with this green one. And so I am going to be using that as my main base, and then I am going to add these strips on there. And what I'm actually going to do to break up the color a little bit is to add in white strips in between. This will also help pull my whole layout together. Additionally, it will help to make those stripes smaller. Now you can see that I have pulled up the edges of one side of the stripes to create some dimension. I'm going to do the same with the white. You can also see that I'm using some red tape to attach my white. No real reason for that other than my white strips were thin enough that I knew if I used my traditional tape runner, I was not going to have enough room to be able to pull them up as I wanted to. Now, what do I mean by it's going to help tie the whole layout together? Well, obviously I need white on here somewhere and somehow, and that is where white comes into play for me a lot. I use it as an accent color. Often my photos are matted with white. Often my title, in fact, ends up having a strong white element to it. Especially if I make the title myself, whether I cut it out using punches or metal die cuts or my cutting machine, all those times my title very often ends up being white. So I like to use the white as a punch accent color. So you're seeing right now that I am pulling in more of the white, trying to keep everything matching well. My next step is going to be to get my photo on there and my title. Now, what I'm trying to figure out right now is what layers I want beneath my photo. I've already got it matted with white. I have a lot of yellow already on the layout and a lot of green. So I want to bring in the blue and the orange and the pink some more. I especially want to make sure I get some of the blue in there well, because the blue ties nicely with the sky in my picture. And as you can see, the green ties nicely with the mountain in my picture. And so both of those colors really help pull everything together. So I am layering those on there, and then I'm going to just use the word love to get my title started. I used a metal die cut to cut this out, just one that I had found on clearance at a store a couple of years ago. If it looks familiar, you've probably seen me use it before. And I did actually, it's in 2 pieces because I didn't have tall enough cardstock to cut it. So I cut out the OVE and then I turned the die and cut out the L, and I'm going to just glue it together. Now, oftentimes when we add in a title, it doesn't necessarily fit in with the visual points that we're working with within our layout. So a lot of times on layouts, you see that I am working within a triangle for my embellishing, and that triangle revolves around where the pictures are at. And sometimes the title fits in there and sometimes it doesn't. What I'm going to show you today is how you can work the title into one of those embellishment points of your triangle and help use that to bring the eye into the picture. Now, right off the bat, you can see that it's right below my picture. So automatically you're looking straight to the picture and then looking down for your title. So we're off to a really good start. I am going to add in some of these wonky alphabet letters in blue underneath, and I do struggle a little bit with the placement of those, but ultimately find a good spot for them. I didn't want them to overlap too much, and you know, it's a very normal part of my scrapbooking. Put it down, take it up. Put it down, take it up. But you can already see how I am building in the connection of the title with my picture. And then what you will see over the next couple minutes is how that evolves into being part of my embellishing and the movement of the whole layout. The next thing I am going to use is this Chow Chip piece, which is a really fabulous striped, colorful one, and you can see how nicely it complements my stripes on the side. This was probably my inspiration piece for the whole layout. I saw that, I thought that could work well with this picture, and I rolled with things. So I don't know why I was drawn specifically to that piece, but I was. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is pull in some Chow Chip flowers, and I am going to begin to build that triangle. So there you can see a point that I am going to use on that triangle. There you can see another point, and these really focus around the picture and the title and pulling them in together. Now, often when I work with embellishment clusters, I will use the same embellishments in each part. So, for example, in this one, I want to have one of these Chow Chip flowers in each cluster. I like to be able to do that. It doesn't always work that way, but that's the goal I'm going for. Now, you can see I did shift my triangle down because I decided I wanted the next point to be up higher on the right. The next thing I'm going to add to these clusters is some little yellow hearts, and these actually are from one of the new cutouts, a Christmas cutout, in fact, from Bella Boulevard, and I actually cut apart the cutouts, and then I cut out the hearts separately. They were all in one big triangle, basically, and so I knew I didn't want the whole piece. I didn't like how it was working within the layout, so I cut them apart, and then I added some backing in the yellow. Again, you can see I'm repeating that element in each of my clusters along that triangle. And you can see also how it's creating movement already, going from the top of the layout down to the bottom. Another point that I want to make that I discussed in my last video is also how with all those straight lines off on the left side, going for a script title was a good choice because it helps to break up all the straightness, all the graphic hard lines that are going on at that point. That softens the entire layout. And I was still able to bring in the print font for you, but just having that softer title helps everything be a little bit softer and also helps create some movement on the layout. Now you can see I've added on some epoxy hearts, and then I'm going to add on some Nuvo drops, and that will be it. So pretty straightforward layout, not real complicated, but you can see how my title works into the embellishment clusters. It works into my visual triangle, and it helps to create movement and interest on the whole layout. So thank you so much for being here today. Please do give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Hit that subscribe button and head on over to Bella Boulevard. Check out some close-ups of this layout, and we will see you again next time. Have a great Valentine's Day if you're celebrating, and if you're not, eat some chocolate anyway and have a great day anyway. We'll see you next time.